Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to Generation X Nation. We will be talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But before we get started, as always, thank you to all my new subscribers. Anybody who's left a comment, anybody who's liked the channel, I will be replying back in the comments. I love talking to you guys and engaging with you guys. Okay. Now, before we get started, my disclaimer, as always, everything on my page is alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Now, all commentary on my channel is done week to week based on the episode that airs, with the understanding that shows are edited, so we don't always get the full contents of the scene, context of the scenes. So I give my commentary based on what airs on the television station. That's it. Don't have a dog in this fight, but I will say if I like you one week, I may not like you the next week. It depends on how you act on that particular episode. And with that being said, we're going to get started. First, the dinner from hell is ending. Shamea's in there with Kelly. Kelly's consoling Shamea as usual. Shamea's in there playing victim as usual, as though she didn't get the party started at that dinner. But I digress. We're going to do a deep dive into that later on. Now, Kelly is like, look, we all the way here in Scotland. I came here to turn up. Get dressed, let's go. Meanwhile, the other ladies are at the club having a good time. They partying. I didn't even know there was many black people in Scotland. Who knew? Okay. So they back there partying, having the time of their lives and everything. Shamea finally comes in. They show her walking through the door with that big, beautiful leg hanging out, her little kilt skirt, looking absolutely gorgeous as usual. And then editing has this way of making it look like when she walked in, the whole vibe changed because it seemed like she sucked the air out. You had K. Michelle putting her differences aside with Drew, handing Drew the mic, like, go on, sing, girl, putting her song on. K. Michelle then sang the Phaedra. And then she actually put Shamea's song on. And Shamea got up and sang. When Porsha seen Shamea in there, Porsha said, absolutely not, got her purse and walked out. Initially, Drew was the one who ran after Porsha. The other ladies were still in the room while Shamea was singing. Cynthia and Angela. Then after she finished, K. Michelle started calling Porsha. They realized Porsha wasn't there. Then they went looking for Porsha. So the rest of the ladies, Angela and Cynthia and Phaedra, went outside to find Porsha. Okay? But let Shamea tell it when she was sitting at the table with Kelly, Pinky, and K. Michelle. Everybody left when she started singing, running after their queen Porsha. And Shamea, that just wasn't true. They didn't all leave. I don't know if Phaedra left, but I know Drew and maybe Phaedra, but I think Phaedra was still there. But I know Angela and Cynthia was in there when you were singing. So once again, you're creating a narrative that was not true, Shamea. And there is your problem. You should have, I wouldn't even have brought it up. Okay? But I understand how editing does stuff. So it does make you look bad, right? And all the ladies agree, even in their confessionals, they didn't say it too much. They're like, they standing outside. She talked about that girl's mama. She talked about that girl's mama. Shamea, you can't tell people when to get over something when you hurt them. Just like you can't tell Porsha when to get over when she hurt you, and she can't tell you when to get over when you hurt her. Now you talked about her mother, brought that up in front of everybody, which we know is off limits. So at that moment, she's still mad because this just happened a few hours ago. So yeah, she probably not ready to lovey-dovey with you right now. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have came to the club. I'm just saying, what did you expect? It's Porsha. All right. Um, and with that being said, the ladies were sitting there talking. She felt everybody was against her. They ran out to chase their queen. The other ladies went on off about their business. They said, hey, let's just go. The party's over. We're going back to the house. That's where they went. Now, the next morning, Phaedra goes to Porsche room, gives her the agenda for the day. I'm taking some ladies to meet with the cemetery for our excursion. And Porsche said, well, whoever stays back are going to go to the spa with me. She says, I am taking Kelly, Shamea, and Cynthia to the cemetery. Now, when she said Shamea, Porsche face changed. Porsche, you knew doggone well Phaedra wasn't leaving Shamea there with you. Let's not even, come on. Let's just keep it a buck, okay? So After that, they had a conversation real quick because, Phaedra was concerned, like, Porsha, I mean, how do you feel about last night, whatever? And she basically told her she felt we could have moved forward over here. I was looking at maybe having a, conversation that could have done something and, maybe reconcile some things, whatever. She basically said she was looking at moving forward with Shamea. Everything was running good until, the incident at the dinner. She said, at this point, this friendship is basically dead. She said she's a snake and she knew how to trigger me. And she said at the end of the day, I'm done with it. I'm over this friendship. There's nothing left. There's no moving forward or anything like that. So now they get in the car. So, Phaedra accepts it like, hey, you know, I get it. So they get in the car and they were heading out to the cemetery. And so one of them said, well, what kind of cemetery is this? And Phaedra said, it's a lot of famous people buried there. And they said, who? Phaedra couldn't name one. But the minute she got in the car, Shamea goes into her Shamea mode. She starts apologizing. And she's apologizing in the car about last night and, what happened and all of that. And Kelly is like, stop apologizing. But Shamea is letting them know she don't feel like people were on her side and, this, that, and the third. And Cynthia's like, oh, she felt that way. Shamea, we'll get into that in a minute. So she's in the car apologizing once again. So they get to the cemetery. They have a little back and forth. She's sitting down. She didn't want to go into that little area that I guess Cynthia and Phaedra went in to hear the spirits of whoever in there. And she said she heard the spirit of that dead friendship between between Porsha and Shamea while they was in there. But it was a nice cemetery. I think she said the young lady, the Rollins lady who wrote Harry Potter and the legend of that dog who came there every day to sit by his owner's grave, when his owner passed away. That's the cemetery that happened in. So it was like a cemetery tour. And I know they do that a lot in Europe. I think they do it in New Orleans because I went down there one time. I didn't do the tour, but some people do the night tour down there and the day tour. So it's nothing odd about doing a cemetery tour. I'm just not a person who wants to see a cemetery tour. So I understand that part. Um, Meanwhile, the ladies are over at the spa with Porsha. They go down and find the spa is a swimming pool they got from the Dollar Tree. I'm like, where did swimming pool come from? I mean, the spa. It was a swimming pool that looked like you could buy it at the Dollar Tree. Porsha, you didn't check the grounds and check the spa before you left these ladies here. Porsha, like, if I known this was this, I would have made us a reservation at the Four Seasons somewhere. Porsha, you should have went down there and made sure that spa was workable. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, they was able to sit down and have a chit chat and have some drinks and some snacks. And they brought up the about Shamea. Drew did. She said, "What is the issue with Shamea?" And Pinky and K Michelle, spoke, and Pinky said, "I just feel like her energy is off. I mean, when I met her at the airport, I'm like, how do you feel about this trip?" She said, "Well, whatever happens, happens. I'm ready for whatever." And again, we don't know how that was relayed. And then Kay Michelle said, that she sat here and she watched her talk about the friendship, cry about the friendship, and she's really hurt about losing the friendship. So she don't understand how she said what she said at that tape. So everybody is confused as to why Shamea is acting that way. So when they asked Porsha, how does she feel? Porsha said she was really on her way to make amends with her. She was trying to, clean something up, maybe get restarted again, refresh with their friendship, although Kay Michelle didn't believe it. And then she said she was just very, very disappointed. She said she thought they could maybe renew their friendship because over in Switzerland. Then she realized she's in Scotland. She said, well, whatever, across the pond. I kind of believe Porsha a little bit because during the course of the trip, Porsha was very cordial with Shamea the whole time. It was Shamea that was always making these faces. Like we say, Shamea wears her feelings on her face. And the camera knows exactly when to zoom in and catch it. Just my opinion. At the end of the day, I just feel like Shamea misses the mark or she doesn't pay attention to how do they say it, her surroundings, and she's not listening to what's going on in her face, and she speaks too soon. She I won't say not a good communicator, but it's like Shamea has to be more observant to what's going on around her before she opens her mouth and says something. And I think that's her biggest problem on this show. Now, with that being said, Porsha did have a conversation with her sister before they went, right after she talked to Phaedra before Phaedra left. And she got on the phone with her sister and she let it out. And I think Porsha was on the edge. She was getting ready to climb that cliff and become P. Woolley real quick. And then somebody said, no, Porsha, bring it back down. And that was Lauren. Because Porsha said, I'm dead. I'm done. She talked about my mama and my child. I'm done with her. This friendship is dead. Whatever happens, happens. I'm on something else right now. And I could see P. Woolley about to come out. And P. Woolley is the one who jumped on Kenya and kicked Cynthia in the stomach, okay? She was on her way to that. And then she said, something's wrong with this girl. She is destiny, trying to destiny swap with me. And I don't know where Porsha learned that language from, because I'm going to be honest. I've heard destiny swap, but I didn't know what the actual definition was. But I know it's kind of has to do something with jealousy and you want to be me or something. So I actually looked it up. And it says it's a concept of spiritual witchcraft, religious circles describing the alleged phenomenon where someone steals another person's luck, energy, or life path, usually out of jealousy. That's what she says Shamea is doing. Now, does Shamea want to be Porsha? I don't know, but I think she admires certain things about Porsha. Even though Shamea has the house, the husband, the car, the family, and all of that, she still admires certain things about Porsha. They've been friends a long time, so she knows all of Porsha's secrets. Porsha studied calling her snakes. Porsha said, this is over, and I like what Lauren was saying. I cannot believe that she did that to you, but y'all been friends for a long time and she knows how to trick you. Don't fall into it. And I think that's what brought Porsha off the cliff. But Porsha said, I know she ain't sitting here talking about my mama once, even her husband, her father. He ain't even got no teeth. Said, if anything, your mama did sleep with your father's brother. Oh, I was like, oh my God. She accused her of destiny swapping, said her daddy ain't got no teeth, and she stood 10 toes down that her mother did sleep with her uncle. I'm like, oh my God, that's too much for me. P. Woolley was trying to tell you something. And I'm telling you, Shamea, you might want to do it. But she said, hey, at the end of the day, if she come up to tonight, if something pops off, whatever happens, happens. And I think Porsha meant every freaking word of that. Every freaking word of that. All right. And then at the end of the day, everything came out okay. They get to the birthday dinner. The birthday dinner seems to be going great. Now, here's what I say Porsha does to Shamea. Because Porsha knows exactly how to agitate Shamea, and Shamea knows exactly how to agitate Porsha. Porsha walks down in this white dress looking absolutely amazing. Everybody oohing and ahhing over Porsha. You look good. They zoom right in. This is what I mean about these editing at Shamea's face. And you could see her make that face like, See, Shamea, these editors be making you look bad. That's why I don't blame you 100% on everything, because it's the way in which they edit you to look like you hating on Porsha. Now, soon after Porsha come in, Phaedra comes in. Everybody oohing all over Phaedra because it is her birthday dinner. She looks absolutely amazing too. They sit down and then the conversation starts. The first thing Phaedra says, she acknowledges Cynthia and a long term friendship and being on the franchise so long. Cynthia said, hey, we had some bumps in the roads, but I honor you. I respect you. I love your resilience. I love how you fought back from everything you ever went through. And I like the person you are today. Absolutely wonderful. That's why we love Cynthia. And Porsha comes in with the knife, twists it again. This is what's eating Shamea up, because Shamea doesn't like Porsha giving accolades to anybody else but her. When Porsha acknowledges that I have a good friend here or a good friend there, it makes Shamea feel jealous of the friendship, which I understand. So Porsha says, hey, Phaedra, I know me and you, we had some wonderful times over the years. You have been a wonderful friend to me. We have shared times and moments together. We can call on each other when need be. We can support each other. Everybody in the confessional, like Angela, like, girl, you pouring it on thick. Well, she was. And then somebody else said, I forget which one, if y'all that good friends, why I don't see y'all on social media together. I don't see no pictures of y'all together. Y'all don't hang out with each other outside of this show. Everybody has something to say. Even K. Michelle was like, girl, I know you lying. But Porsha was doing that to get to Shamea. She didn't care what y'all think. She wanted Shamea to know because she said it when she was making up with Kelly, how pouring into each other. We need to love on each other, support each other. I want to be a friend to you. And then she did the same speech to Phaedra, how we had so many good times together and all of this stuff. But yet Shamea sitting here, you've been friends with since you was a child. That's why it bothers Shamea. And Porsha knows how to get to her. All Porsha has to do to get to Shamea is talk about the friendship. That's it. If she talk about the friendship, that hurts more than anything else that Judge Porsha can say about Shamea. And I'm just being honest with you. So after that, she gave her proclamation, named her title of Lady Glenn. And of course, Shamea, shady as she is in the confession. Let me Google that. Everybody looking at it laughing. We know it don't mean nothing. It was just Porsha once again putting the knife in and y'all believing it. Come on, Shamea. Porsha knows how to get to you. If I will say that, she definitely knows how to get to you. Now, with that being said, here's what I know for sure about this friendship. And I wrote some notes on this, and this is my deep dive. Okay. One, Kelly was absolutely right. When they was at the table, and Kelly, no, when they was in the van and Kelly kept telling her, stop apologizing. And then, after the club, stop apologizing. Stand 10 toes down. Why do you keep apologizing? If you notice something about Shamea, she only apologizes when Porsha's not in the room. Now, when they were sitting at the table, after Porsha did the proclamation, they sat down, they started having conversation. Phaedra started talking about the cemetery tour. And then K. Michelle got very emotional because we didn't realize that she is that scared of death. And she had 13 surgeries. And there was times where somebody told her that her mom that she may not make it. So she has to overcome that. And that's why cemeteries scare her. I understand. Drew and Angela got emotional because Drew lost her dad recently. Angela lost her mom recently. So they got emotional. Drew got up and left. Porsha went after Drew. And then what did Shamea do? Just like in the van. Well, I'm apologize. And K. Michelle clocked her and she said, why'd you wait to Porsha leave to apologize? Why'd you wait to Porsha leave the room? Because that's what she does. That's what Shamea does. Shamea has not once apologized while Porsha was sitting in her face. And I'm not saying she owed Porsha an apology, but why do you always wait till Portia's not around? You wait till she's not around to apologize to people. You apologize to them for ruining the dinner on the van. You apologize to this person over here. You wait till she's not around to apologize. That just seems strategic to me. When Porsha comes back in, she said, I thought y'all be laughing or whatever. Oh, we was just Shamea was just having a conversation about whatever it was. And Porsha just looked. Shamea waits till Porsha leave to have the conversations. That's what makes it look so fake and phony and I don't know, staged or something, Shamea. It just doesn't look right or doesn't come off right. Now, Shamea, in my opinion, feels that everybody is after her. I been watching Housewives for a long time. Shamea, everybody versus me has been a theme on this show for years. There was a season when everybody was on Marlo. There was a season when everybody was fighting against Nene. There was a season when everybody didn't like Porsha. There was a season when everybody didn't like Kenya. Hell, there was a season when they was all over Eva. When Drew came, they was all over Drew about her husband taking a trip to Orlando without her. Was he cheating on her with his assistant? All of these women have felt isolated at some point on this show. You are not the first. But what they did was most of them handled it, endured it, and moved on. You are, let me say, you operate with emotion, a lot of emotion. And you got to stop playing checkers while they playing chess with you. You got to start thinking strategically like they doing. Every time Porsha talks to these women and apologize and she brings up being a good friend and all of that, that's the dagger towards you. And you catching it, but you're not catching it. You got to do the same thing back to her. Don't let make it be one way. You got to stop playing the victim and the villain. Because see, what happens is you get so upset, you become the villain. You start saying things and running off at the mouth. And then when it comes back to slap you in the face, then you be playing victim. Oh, they all after me. You got to stop running off at the mouth. When y'all had the dinner from hell the night before, when you and Porsha were going back and forth, if you notice when you got up and walked off, the only person followed you was Kelly. You know why? Because you already had an issue with K. Michelle when she said you and your mother cornered her and y'all try to make her pick a team. You already had your issues with Drew. You and Angela were fighting about you allegedly sleeping with her neighbor's husband. You don't care for for Phaedra. You told Miss Pinky Phaedra ate meat. Phaedra said you eat meat. You don't care for Porsha. So who at that table was going to get up and walk out and console you other than Kelly, who's living in your townhome? See, so it wasn't you being isolated. It was just the fact that all these people had issues with you. So now they're painting you out as the villain. If you would have addressed each of these ladies by yourself one-on-one without Portia around, I'm talking about prior to Scotland, if you would have came over to Angela before it got to her saying you sleeping with your neighbor, when y'all had the argument, you said her husband in the street and she said you sleep with the Hawks. If you and her would have sat down and had a conversation after that, apologized to each other, worked it out. If you and Drew would have sat down and have a conversation, you said, Drew, I felt like you was coming between my friendship with Portia, but now I understand that's not the case. Had that conversation. If you and Kay Michelle would have sat down and said, hey, I understand you may have felt a certain way when me and my mom was out with you, but that's not what we meant. Had that conversation. If you would have sat over there with Phaedra and said, Phaedra, I didn't mean it that way. It was a joke when, I said that you said Pinky eat meat. If you would have made some amends with some of these women, then they would be like Cynthia and been neutral and said, you know what? I ain't that's between you and Portia. We hope y'all get it together. And they would have fought hard to get both of y'all sides to meet each other. They'd have been talking to you, to Portia, trying to get y'all to sit down and have a conversation, even if it's without them present. But you didn't do that. You let it all ride. And I'm not saying they couldn't come to you, but at the same time, you were the one saying the stuff about them. You said the stuff about them. They didn't say it about you, outside of you and Angela going back and forth. So now you created all of this somewhat division. So now when things happen, of course they just gonna like, hey, ride it out. She said this about me, she said that about me. So you make yourself look like the victim when actually all of the issues the ladies had with you was mostly created by something that came out of your mouth. Now back to you and Portia. And they showed the scenes all the way back. When you was sitting in that confessional first season, it said something happened between y'all moms. So you brought in the moms first. And then Portia posted on social media about, hey, pump your brakes, don't bring the mamas in there. And y'all know y'all can see it. It's all over social media. All right. Then y'all got to the reunion, went back and forth, and Portia said, my mom didn't know your mom bought her daycare till she rolled by and seen it. Then it was deaded at the reunion. And then you brought it back up this season. And that's why, again, Portia looks like the innocent one and you look like the villain. You're just not good at going back and forth with these people. I think you do good as a friend of the show. You have the housewife life. The husband, the cars, the big mansion, the money. And let me tell you, baby, you're absolutely gorgeous. You're their fashion, everything. I seen you on Watch What Happened Live the other night in that white. You looked absolutely stunning. But it's more to being a housewife than just that. And I think that's where you're missing the mark. You're like the sidekick, fun girl when Shamea was just on there being funny and having good fun and being Portia's friend. And I know a lot of people was like, oh, why you let Portia talk to you like that? I don't know. Maybe you haven't, I'm not saying Destiny swap, whatever. But maybe you were that person just wanted to be Porsha's friend because maybe Porsha was just a popular girl in class and you wanted to follow behind her. I don't know. But it's weird to me. You know, if you look back at some of the franchises, like I remember when Nene and Candy had a falling out, and then Phaedra and Candy had a falling out. Nene and Phaedra became friends because they had a common enemy, Candy. And that's what we saying. Like, you got to figure out how to make it work with all of these women. And you don't have to be friends with them, but be cordial with them. But you can't keep every week they're editing you. And this may not be you having an issue with each girl. Now you and K Michelle allegedly are on social media fighting. So you have one friend on the show, just Kelly. Make that make sense. And by the way, please, y'all, get Angela off of Twitter. Get Angela off of Twitter. Um, Candy even know this, that this is happening, because she posted something like, get off the, you don't need this show, just, I mean, get off the show, because she noticed that you don't have the wherewithal to hang in there with these women at a full-time level. That's all I'm saying, at a full-time level. And like Kelly's saying, stop the apologies. Either stand 10 toes down on what you're saying, or don't say it at all. But the apologies are getting to the point where they don't hold any weight, because you're apologizing so much where it just don't hold any weight anymore, Shamea. And the thing is, we like you. We like you. I don't dislike Shamea. I don't dislike Porsha. But in the game of Shamea and Porsha, Porsha is winning. She's killing you, Shamea. I need you to come back. I don't know. Even the other day, I seen you on Watch What Happened Live. You still was a little shady. I like the shade, Shamea. That's what it's all about. But you got to know when to say when. And it's too soon right now. It's too soon after the episode aired. And we know it gets hot at the reunion. Shamea, you could be the top housewives if you learn the emotional maturity that you need to have to be able to be on this show and not let stuff trigger you. Okay, and you let stuff trigger you, and then you got to come back real quick. Let them say what they want to say. Let them say what they want to say. You remain calm, and that is how Porsha is winning, because Porsha just sits there and lets you talk, and she remains calm. And then when you start shouting and going off, she still remains calm, put you in check, and then everybody makes you look like the crazy idiot. And now people are tired of the apologies. They're tired of seeing you and Porsha fight. They're tired of all of that. Matter of fact, when y'all went to that cemetery, you should have put a box with Porsha Shamea friendship and dug a grave and put it in there and had a ceremony for it, because it is not coming back. Not after what you pulled. P. Willie is done. When P. Willie got on that doggone phone with her sister and told her what was going on about you and your what you said about their parents, she told Porsche, I'm sorry, Phaedra, you was a snake. She ain't dealing with you no more. This friendship is done. When P. Willie got up there, because that was P. Willie talking, and she said it's on and popping now, whatever happens, happened. Lauren talked her off that edge. Because Porsha was ready for you to say something, and she was about to go all P. Willie on you. Lauren said, calm down. You've been her friend for a long time. She know a lot about you. She know the triggering you. Don't even go there with it. And that's what brought Porsha back to reality. Because Porsha Williams showed back up. But for a moment on that phone with Lauren, we was about to get P. Willie. That's all I'm saying. And Shamea, you know that. So I say Shamea knows how to trigger Porsha. Porsha knows how to trigger Shamea. But the problem is Porsha is a veteran at this. As I said before, Porsha has survived the Nene Leakes harassments, the Kenya Moore harassments, the Candy Burris harassment. Her and Phaedra fell out. Porsha has survived on that show 2 marriages, a fiance, and she's still standing. So Porsha knows how to survive this housewife stuff. She's mastered it. She did it so well that she is now the center and the focus of the show. A show that Nene Leakes built. Think about it. So when we coming after her, we got to come at her strategically, just like she come after you strategically, Shamir, or you're going to lose that battle every time. Kelly, I'm going to give Kelly her props. The little minion, as they like to call her, Kelly, I know she fighting with Porsha in the comments. I seen the whole thing about the teeth, the money, and all of that. But I would say this: Kelly was being a great friend to you, Shamea, and she was telling you, stand in your truth. If you say it and you believe it, then stand in your truth. Stop apologizing. If you're gonna keep apologizing, then don't even say it at all. Just keep it to yourself. All right. Do better, Shamea. Do better. I don't know what next week is gonna hold, but what I do know for sure is P. Willie, we want to keep her hidden. Look, Shamia, we don't want to bring P. Willie out. We don't ever want to see P. Willie again. And you was this close to getting P. Willie back on the scene. And P. Willie is the one who was fighting Kenya at the reunion and kicking Cynthia on the boat in the stomach. Okay? We don't want that Porsha. And you almost drug that out of her. And that might have been what you wanted to do, but I don't think nobody wanted to see that again. Nobody. All right. Otherwise, the trip was okay. I think it was fun. Everybody looked like they had a good time. As usual, like Porsha said, it seemed like Shamea came over there to sabotage the trip. Shamea, you got to stop being Debbie Downers on these trips. When they go to these trips, you got to put the differences aside and just have fun. And then fight it out on your way back from the trip. Or have one night in the room, have a conversation with the ladies you need to have a conversation with, squash it and say, hey, let's have fun. When we get back to Atlanta, we'll resolve our differences. That you didn't do, so you kind of ruined some of the trip for the ladies, even though they enjoyed themselves. And God forbid, if you and Porsha ever be friends again, which I don't think that'll ever happen, the trust factor is gone. It's gone. Yeah. So I don't think y'all ever be friends again. I think this is as they say, the end, as I say, the end of the road. So, Shamir, you're going to have to let go. And I can see the hurt and the pain. And we know that you really want your friendship back, even though you try to act like you don't. Yes, you do. You do want that friendship back. And Portia could take it or leave it. But I can guarantee you, if the opportunity arose, you would be friends with Portia again because seemed like it meant more to you than it did to Portia. So down the road, next season, Shamea, hey, stand 10 toes down is what you believe in. Don't let nobody punk you. And if you say it, say it. Stop apologizing to people. You don't owe nobody apology for how you feel or how somebody make you feel or when you get over your hurt and pain. But just know strategically when to say certain things because they love to edit those scenes to make you look crazy. And right now, it's making you look real bad, Shamia. And Portia's on the winning end. And we all know Portia is over there agitating the shit out of you. And with that being said, this is Gen X Nation. I hope y'all like my commentary. Like I said, I don't have a dog in this fight. I think both of these people are equally responsible for the breakdown of the friendship. But Shamia pulled the first punch when she said, your mother tried to sleep with my dad. She shouldn't have went there. That's all I'm saying. With that being said, you guys go out, like, subscribe, leave a comment, go out and have a great rest of your day. This is Gen X Nation. Peace, and I'm out.